I'm Brittanie Dabney, and this is BIMS Bites. And today I'll be biting into sediment pollution. So, I'm a PhD student. I study the impacts of various types of pollution, including sediment, on our drinking water resources and the animals that live in the water. And sediment is a very fun topic for me to talk about because compared to other contaminants, it's not talked about as much anymore. And that's probably because it's naturally found everywhere and we see it everywhere. It's on the land that we walk on, it's in the air sometimes during high wind events, and of course, it's found in our marine and freshwater environments. However, according to the Environmental Protection Agency, sediment is the most common form of pollution in our rivers and lakes and reservoirs and causes about 16 billion in environmental damage each year. So you can see not only is sediment pollution a detriment to our ecosystems, but also to our economy. And in our marine and freshwater systems, while some sediment is good, too much sediment, particularly the small sediment, is considered a form of pollution that results in a lot of negative impacts. For example, sediment can enter into the water and cause it to be cloudy and reduce the amount of sunlight that's able to reach the bottom. And this light reduction can result in fewer underwater plants and animals. Similarly, too much sediment can result in habitat loss for invertebrates that rely on those spaces in between the large gravel and cobble. The loss of breeding habitat can occur as well, particularly for fish, such as various species of salmon, where these salmon will generally try to brush away the fine sediment so that they can create a nest for their eggs. But if sediment is entering into the system, those eggs, if they're laid, can be buried by the fine sediment. The increase in sediment can also, over time, reduce the amount of volume in our lakes and rivers. This can leave less water for fish to swim in, as well as humans. Also, many other contaminants, such as metals, can easily bind to sediment, and this contaminated sediment can enter the water and reduce the habitat quality. And all of these factors influence the quality and quantity of available drinking water for us humans. So where does all this sediment come from? Well, in general, sediment is typically underneath the soil layer or mixed into the soil layer. And when soil is removed or disturbed, this can lead to sediment erosion and mobilization of that sediment into waterways. Most of the reason for soil removal and sediment erosion is due to human activities such as farming, construction, and development near coastlines, mining, logging activities, and that's just a few. So you might be wondering, how do we reduce the impacts of sediment pollution in freshwater and marine systems? Well, the first step is to implement what's called best management practices to reduce sediment inputs. And so there's a bunch of BMPs. However, some of these for sediment could include doing construction activities further away from stream banks and coastlines, reinforcing stream banks with mesh or netting, and also maintaining a vegetation around the construction areas or farming areas, as well as maintaining vegetation along the coastlines. But once the sediment is in the water, it's kind of difficult to remove it without disturbing the ecosystem. So what me and other scientists will do is try to understand the areas or habitats of concern that we should address for specific remediation of that site, or study to understand which animals are more at risk due to sediment pollution so that we can protect those animals. And so there's a ton of different research across STEM fields that look at sediment pollution, including engineering that looks at how to safely remove the sediment. But one of the best ways, of course, is to implement those best management practices and reduce the amount of sediment entering into our aquatic systems. And so thank you so much for listening to this BIMS Bite. And I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you stick around for the other presentations. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me on any of the social media platforms or by email, and I will be sure to respond back. Thank you so much. Bye.